Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the Thousand Year Reich series. We are going into April of 1944. The Allies have invaded France at Calais. They also made a secondary invasion up at Edinburgh to trap the German army here. The reason why I went after Calais is there isn't a real German army. There's some miners and some garrisons. Here in the west, he has 5 airplanes, so he's keeping down my air force. But I landed in poor weather and figured I was going to have a couple of turns of poor weather to try and expand my bridgehead. And instead, I got fair in the mild zone. Poor in the warm, and it's severe in the Soviet Union, which is, I was hoping for poor in the Soviet Union so I could actually put pressure on the Germans. Severe weather kind of keeps us from doing anything. So we'll go ahead and get started here. No declarations of war. Economies are fairly straightforward. The Germans are only down 2 factories, so 13 plus 6 is 19, so they should be at 38. I don't think he gave one. Did he give one to anybody? No, he didn't. The British have gotten themselves up to 28 factories. They have 6 factories minus 1, which is 5, plus 3 here, and 6. So 9 plus 5 is 14. So they have 28 production points. And of course, the Americans keep giving the Irish a point just because they can. The Russians are all the way up to 40 points. They have 7 factories minus 1 because of the shenanigans that they pulled off earlier in the war. They managed to conquer Finland, although they've made some mistakes here and they've given up. Sweden is running around messing with me, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So that's economies. The biggest thing that the Allies did is down here in the Middle East, they managed to finally kick him out of Basra, and they own Kuwait, because that was my initial landing, was to push my way in through Kuwait. And after several turns of trying, I finally took Basra, so they are now a 0 against the Soviets when we get to Soviet strategic warfare. So the Russians are at 4 and the Germans are at 0, and the Germans do have 2 submarines. I can't remember if he plays one here. So we'll go up here and see if he plays one. Boom. Oh, this is when we found out that he's using a different thing for mine, vassal module-wise, and it screwed up the saved game. So he actually rolls a 5 plus 0. And I rolled a 6, but I should have been at plus 4, so it should have been 10. So he loses a factory marker. And his factories go up to 3 lost. Then we go into the west, and I have only 2 bond markers, so I'm plus 4 to his plus 3, I believe. And then we will be going to combat commitment. We both commit. So he should submarine and an ultra. He rolled a 3 plus 3, which was a 3. I rolled a 6 plus 4, which is a 10, half down to a 5, and a 3 to a 5 is he loses another factory. So he's back up to 4 lost factories. And his subs come back in 4. My ultra comes back in 5. And then we go to strategic movement, and the Axis really didn't have a choice here. They had to bring something back from the east because their army is sort of trapped in Britain at the moment. And so he brought a Panzer into Lille. I don't think I had one with the West and the Soviets. I started to try and think I could move there, and I was like, I can't go that far. So instead I moved over to here to try and cut down the Swedish marauding around in northern Russia. we're in his operations phase. He goes ahead and activates this suite and goes, I'm going to go take Murmansk and then come back out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Aha! I've taken Murmansk. And in this Swede, realizing that he can, the Russians can move and do things, he comes back. I don't know why he was. I think he was trying to pick up a control mark or something. So he has this airplane. Go after that fighter. Or was he going after the bomber? Might be going after the bomber. No, he's going after the fighter. So it was -2. Oh, he went after the bomber. Okay. Then he got a 5 minus 2 is a 3, and I'm 4 minus 3 is a 1, so I take 2 for his 1. And then he ran up, I think he ran up my fighter here. He ran up this fighter here, because the worst he could do is 1. And then he went after this bomber and got it again. And he did 1 on the bomber and then went ahead and hit this guy here. Just running him up. And I think he's using his airplanes in the back here. So he ended up with a 2 and I ended up with a 3, so we each took a sortie. Then he has the Italians attack. He rolled a 4 minus 4 is a 0, and then I rolled a 1 minus 3 is a 1, so he managed to just work it out so that he took out almost all my airplanes. And this garrison moves out 1, 2, 3. Calls for an assault. This garrison moves in, calls for an assault. Italian comes in and moves in and does an assault. So he's trying to take away my port in Calais because then he can get isolated bonuses on the port, what you call it, the mulberry. We go to combat commitment, which is a no-brainer. I have exactly 1 airplane, so I have to play it. He's throwing his airplane in, so we're doing an airplane fight, I think. So I'm at 3, and he's starting off at 0 plus 1, 2 minus 1, so he should be at +1 to my +3 before we throw stuff in. Of course, we all do. I throw in my airplane, he throws in his German airplane, so we fight, combat. So then he's throwing in the kitchen sink here. So he's 2 for the Italian, 2 for this German, and then +2 for the heavy artillery. So he's 2, 4, 6. -1, so he's plus, and the airplane. 7, 8, so -1, so he's +7 to my +5. Shouldn't be +8. Should he? Oh, he threw tanks for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, -1, +8. Yep, okay. He's +8 to my +5. He rolled a 2, +8 is a 10, and I rolled a 5, +5 is a 10. So stop that. And then I'm not sure what he does next. He moves some Spanish up. Moves the Vichy French around. As this convoy move, I go ahead and intercept with the fleet that's there to try and keep him, to make him land flipped if possible. It's not a very good attack. He did roll a 5, so he takes 2 sorties on his fleet. And then I could only roll 1 on the convoy, so he gets in without being flipped. He ends his turn in Southampton. Then he moves his low supply armored unit around 1, 2, 3, 4. There's this guy into Southampton. 4, 5, 6. And another Spanish guy up. This airplane moved down to there. He's going to attack that airplane. So he's at +1 to my -4, and then we're halved. Rolls a 5 plus 1 is a 6, halved to a 3, so he gets 2. Then he does his 3 hex attack. So he's 2, 3, 4, -1 for the terrain, so he's +3 to +1. Rolls a 1 plus 3 is a 4. I rolled a 2 plus 1 is a 3, so I didn't get retreated. Does this attack. He does another attack here, where he's 3 halved. He rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8, halved to a 4. Rolled a 6 plus 1 is a 7, halved to a 4. And then, of course, the attack on the mountain, where he's 3, 4, or 3 minus 1 is a +2. Should be +2 to +0. He rolled an 8. I rolled a 2. So when you have it, he becomes a 4 and I become a 1. So he takes the hex and he takes it with that guy. And what do we do next? I think he was getting just about done. He kind of he did one more attack here. And then he moved this Turk up to try and help defend Egypt. And I think he's doing his supply. This guy goes to no supply. This guy has to go to low supply because he has no possibility. And then he supplied everybody. So as the West, I flew the airplane into here because I had 2 convoys and I really didn't need them. And I go sailing off to the South Atlantic. And then I end my turn in Belfast. He decided not to intercept me with anything. I flew in my bomber. He did have an airplane that could try to do something. He said, no, just go. So I landed my 3 bombs. For strategic warfare purposes. Then I'm not sure exactly what the attack is here. I think I'm attacking. Yeah, I'm attacking here. So I'm +3 to. Why is he +4? Why am I attacking here? Oh, maybe we're in the Middle East? I don't know what I'm attacking. So +3 to a +4. I do not know what this attack is. Oh, and maybe it's this thing here. Yeah, I'm attacking here. Here's where I'm attacking. So he's +4 and halved. So he rolls a 4, gets it down to a 4. I rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8. So an 8 to a 4 is a retreat. And he thinks about it, goes ahead and retreats there. Then I move up a hex and attack him again. Now I'm +5. Should only be +4. So I'm 3 plus 2 for isolation -1. It should only be +4. Should have only been a +4, so that would have been a 9. And he rolls a 5. So that was wrong. That was wrong. Wow. Anyway, I take back those things. I've isolated the infantry, so now I have the fighter command moves up and finishes off the airplane in the Belgium. Then we attack here with the British. And I threw in an airplane from back here, the RAF. So I'd be I'm plus, no I didn't. I'm +4 because he's isolated. So I'm +5 -1, so I get a 10 to his 7, so he's flipped. Then I attack again at a grand total of 7, but he only rolls a 2, so he's eliminated. And the Italians say, well, I can sail anywhere I want. So he drops off, the fleet goes there, and the convoy sailed on back into Brindisi. And he was trying to see if he could get into the Baltic Sea, or Black Sea, and I said, yes, you can. Then I move the American airplane up. Activate Patton. Let's go after the Italians first. So I'm +4 to 0. I think he can. He rolled a 2 to my 10, so he's DD'd. Or he's eliminated. He managed to roll low enough. At a grand total of 10 and a 2, he gets a DE. So I get a willpower off the Italians. Yay. We're down to 8. I get a no enemy zone control and I go there. And then I can't remember, did I go after Le Havre? Why am I at 6 sorties? Anyway, I end up with a 7. He rolls an 8. So I decided to just clean out some other people, try and take out the garrison unit. Rolled a 4 to his 2, so he's retreated. I can't remember. And I attacked the Spaniard and only retreated him. So chose not to leave the hex. I figured, what the heck, I'd try this. And then I attack with this army. I can't remember who that is. Who's that? The 9th. Attacks the German garrison. I roll an 8. He rolls a 2, so he's eliminated because he can't retreat. I attack this garrison. Roll a 7 to his 3. He's retreated, and I decided to not keep going forward. I went ahead and tried desperation attacks against the German armored unit. He's at +4, and I'm at +2. So I rolled a 5, he rolled a 6. And then I rolled a 5 again, and he rolled a 7. So that didn't work. Retrospect, I probably should have moved him to here before doing those attacks out of the no enemy zone control and just taking one pot shot at him. But I didn't do that. So then I move this guy 1, 2, 3, 4. Say, go away, Italian fleet. 5, 6, 7, 8. Send the German convoy over there. We forgot to put the Russian in no supply last turn. And the Italian fleet went ahead into Antwerp. Then I picked up this 7th Infantry and moved it into, with the fleet, into Calais. I don't think he tried to intercept me. And then I moved the Gibraltar guy up to keep Belfast so I couldn't just walk into it. Put the 1st Canadian into there. Took home fleet. Brought it to Southampton so that I would be in places to make my guys be able to do things. And then we're supply phase. So I supplied those two guys in the Middle East. Now we're running supply here, and I think this is where he decides to. I can't remember if he. Don't think he took anybody out supply wise. I think here's where he goes after me on supply. Because here I'm only a 4, so I'm -2 to his +1. He rolls a 5, and I rolled a 2, so I took 2 sorties, and then he attacked the convoy. Rolls a 6, so I take 2 sorties. He goes full of supply, and I run a supply again. So I end up with 2 guys with no supply. So very bad supply die rolls. So we're in the Russian subphase. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay, I've captured something from Sweden. Takes him down 2 will points and captured a thing. And this guy was supposed to be at low supply, no supply too, because he was low supply yesterday. Then I moved the convoy out because he used up his action markers. He doesn't have anything left to intercept me with. So I just go ahead and move into there. And then over here, I have my airplane go after his. Because it's severe weather, we end up, there's no die rolls really. I move this guy down to here and then go after him. I'm at -2, he's at -0. And then all 3 of us attack this infantry unit. So I'm 3 -1, so I'm +2 to +2, and we're both halved. 6 and halved to a 3, so I can't do anything to him. Attack this German infantry unit and actually get 1 ahead. I have these 3 guys attack this German infantry unit and fail miserably with a 5, half to a 2.5 becomes a 3. I move this guy in to attack the Italian. So I rolled a 7, half down to a 4. He rolled a 1, so he's retreated, so I took a hex. This shock army then came running up here to keep me in supply. And these 2 guys went ahead and tried to I was just trying to flip Germans because he was on a precise production schedule. Rolled a 5 plus 1 is a 6, half to a 3, but he didn't roll low enough to be flipped. And then I moved up here, and I think I attacked at -1 to -2. And we found out that we had the wrong thing in there. Kept him in supply, and I think we are done. No supply phase, that guy had to come off. Replacements phase for the Axis. So he brings down his stuff. Americans all come down. Soviets brought back their convoy and their airplanes. Then I built a convoy and the American convoy. Both got built this turn. Put the convoy in Plymouth. no diplomacy. Victory check, end of turn. End of turn phase, going into May. I get a Russian surprise attack marker. Some lend-lease, so my factory counts went up. With the British are now up to 7 plus 3, 10, minus 1, so 16. So up to 32 now. He rolled a 6-4-4, so on the weather track that's going to make it be poor, poor, and fair in the warm zone. So the counterattack in Kuwait may be coming. So he's at 34 because he's 4 minus 10 is 11 plus 6, so he's at 17. So he's at 34. All of his miners are at their totals, and he gives 1 to... Who did he give 1 to? The Italians? He gave 1 to somebody. I don't know who he gave 1 to. Gave 1 to somebody, but I don't remember who. So we are, the Soviet attack. Where's the Soviet attack? Oh, he got +2 because he has Northern Port. So he rolled a 6 plus 2, we're an 8, and I got a 10, so he got his factory back. Then he went into here, and a 1 plus 3 was a 4, but he used his submarines. I got an 11, halved to 6, so it was just enough to put him back up to 4 lost. And 3 turns for a submarine. And now we're in strategic movement, I think, is next. He goes ahead and brings another Panzer over from the east. And I strategically moved a garrison unit up to Edinburgh just because I needed to get it out of the way. And then I decided that it was time to get a Russian armored unit over here, fearing we're going to get fair weather soon. And I think that is it. So now we're into actions phase. He brings the Vichy French around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the unit, 8 for the hex. So he's going to do an assault there. As the armored go into an assault. I think he's the only assault he did. Did he move somebody else? I think that's the only assault he does. So he assaults into there. He's +3, 4, -1. So he's +3 before we go into combat commitment. Which... I don't think I had anything I could commit. Oh, I could have airplanes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I didn't have anything I could commit at this point. So it was, why am I -3? It should be a +1. Oh, we're throwing in airplanes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I think we're doing airplane attacks here. There's Italians going in and Germans going into there. Whoops, I'm hitting back, sorry. So he has the Germans just trying to counter-air me to death. And then he comes into here. What the hell? So it's +5. So this airplane helped take out this one. This one was doing... I thought he did this airplane in. Why didn't I fly that airplane? What was wrong with me? Anyway, he rolled a 3 plus 5 was an 8 to my 4. So, and I don't know why I'm at 0. I should be at +1. Oh no, because I'm poor weather, I'm only +1. Sorry. So I got an 8 to a 4, so he retreated me. Chose not to take the hex. Moved this garrison 1, 2, 3. Or he did take the hex, and he goes 1, 2, 3, 4 into the mulberry. So the airplane flew away, and the fleets went to London. And then he can call an assault. I think he calls for an assault, but I don't think he actually executes it. This guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And assault's there. So he's flying airplane. Why are we not flying my airplane? I do not understand why I'm not flying this airplane. I don't know why I'm not flying that airplane. Anyway, he rolled a 1 plus 3 was a 4, and I rolled a 5, so I held. Spanish, move into there and attack. Does he attack? I don't even know if he attacks. Yes, he's -1, so he rolls a 6 minus 1 is a 5. I finally rolled a 2, so I flipped. This Spanish moves up here to keep me from walking into Le Havre. And then he moves the Swede down here and says, "Haha, I've trapped you." He doesn't have enough movement points to attack me in poor weather. In poor weather or severe weather? In poor weather, but he definitely's got my guy trapped. And the Germans come in at 2, 3, 4, -2, so they're +2. Not sure, but I think he does airplanes. Yeah, he didn't commit, and I did. He was trying to get me to use up my airplanes, and I was obliging. He did it down here, too. Same thing. I went ahead and threw tanks in and an airplane so that I was +3 to his +1. He rolled a 2, I rolled a 7, so I actually flipped his infantry unit. And this guy decided it was time to take out some aircraft. He's -2 and I'm -5. So rolls a 5 and gets 2 sorties on me. This guy runs that guy up, and there's the Turk into line. I don't think he does much else here. He ran him up to 6. Then there's an attack on the second guard, so I threw a tank in, so that'd be +2. He threw a bunch of stuff there, ended up at 2 plus 4 is 6, and I had a 7, so that's why nothing happened there. Then I'm not sure. Yeah, I was upset that I totally missed that I could have flown that airplane all those times, and he said, well, I just would have run him up. So instead, I ran my airplanes in and ran up his, and flew my bombers, since he didn't take all my bombers out. He said, I forgot to move the Italians into here, and I said, well, that's okay. And then he's like, no, I want to move them into here. And he's like, make up your mind. He finally ends up moving them into Cherbourg. So this fleet and convoy and stuff move into Cardiff. Patton moves back to hold Calais, and then we do an assault. So Patton's at 2, plus 2 for an armored is 3/4. So it's plus 4 to plus 3, minus 1. So it's plus 3 to plus 3. Moved the fleet in there so I can move the airplane in, get rid of his German airplane, flew back. And then I threw in the American aircraft. And I ended up with a 6 plus 3, which was a 9. He rolled a 3 plus 3, which is a 6, which is enough to retreat him. So I took the hex. And we went ahead and we attacked the Turk first, I believe. Plus 4 to 0. I rolled a 1. He rolled a 6, so it was nothing. So I threw another attack in here. Again, I ended up with a 2 plus 2. He rolled a 4. 2 plus 2. And 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. We were talking about, what would I do if I took it? And it's like, you know, this was us talking about what I was trying to accomplish, and it was like it just didn't work. Then I think I'm doing supply here, the obvious ones, and then the Soviets go, surprise, in C Zone 15. The Germans have nothing to intercept me with, and I go, that's my invasion hex. I will take Ulea, and Swedes are all gone. They die. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get back my -2 there. We're in poor weather down here, so I think I go ahead and run up his aircraft. This guy moves down to there and then runs up his German aircraft. And then we attack this guy that's surrounded and can't retreat. I throw in a tanks. So I should be 1, 2, 3, -2s, plus 1, plus 2. Plus 2 to 0. I got a 5. He managed to roll only a 3, so he was retreated and couldn't, so he died. I got a German infantry. And I think that was all I did with the Russians. This German was in no supply, so he just takes them off. So now we're doing replacements. So it brings back all his airplanes. I take down the American. He's taking down his guys. Get all the Americans get to come down. And then we're building. We're at the end of turn phase. The only thing I had to build was the 12th fleet. And so end of turn, he's just getting stuff off the tracks. Got his heavy artillery right back, which was very annoying. We go into June. And so we're in the weather. He rolled a 4, 2, and 2. And if you go to the weather table, and May was, let's back up a little bit. It was poor fair. So he had a 4, 2, 2. A 4 in poor in the cold zone. It's fair. 4 in the mild zone. or 2 in the mild zone is fair. 4 in the warm zone is fair. So fair, fair, fair. So going into June 1944, it's fair everywhere, which means we're going to have 4 fair weather turns. June, July, August, and September of 44 will all be fair. The Western Allies are not really positioned well to survive their invasion situation. You will have to think about the Eastern Front a bit because I can actually do stuff. So, but I can't remember why. I think what we said is that this guy and this guy, we just said that he would run him up 2 to take him out of the equations. That's why he wasn't being used. But I don't know why he wasn't used otherwise. So, it was just kind of weird. I should have used him early rather than late. But, yeah, that's it. May and June of 1944. We'll resume with July of 1944 the next time around. As always, I'm Gen608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so that the algorithms in YouTube will keep these up for people to find when they come looking for unconditional surrender videos. And as always, stay safe and bye-bye.